This sweet-looking grandma killed 14 people and then ate them for dinner. This is Tamara Samsonova, and she's from Russia. So she's with this guy, Alexei, and they got married very young. Yes, very cute. But 16 years later, Alexei just disappears. And at this point, Tamara's newly retired and she's been with her husband for 30 years. So she goes to the cops and reports her husband missing. She's sobbing like, "My husband's missing, help me, I don't know what to do." She even says, "I think he ran off with another woman." So the cops are like,
"Sounds like marital problems to me."
So they don't see any urgency in finding him. After this, Tamara decides to rent out a room in her apartment, which is good for her, but for some reason she couldn't keep any tenants. The neighbors even said they would hear a lot of shouting and banging coming from Tamara's house. So the roommates, they were always very quick to leave. Seems like Tamara had a lot of issues. But her tenants, they weren't the only thing she would take her stress out on. She had a diary where she wrote all her thoughts and opinions, and we'll get into that later. A few years later, Tamara's renovating her home. And she meets this woman, Valentina. So Valentina's like 80 and she needs someone to move in with her to help her around the house. And at this point, Tamara's like 68. And since the house is getting renovated, she offered to help Valentina. And this sounds great for them. Until Tamara decides to poison Valentina to death because they had a huge fight over dishes. And I completely understand because I hate doing the dishes. It ruins my nails. So Tamara and Valentina used to argue a lot. So I guess Valentina just got tired of her and asked her to leave. But Tamara really likes staying at Valentina's house. And she's like, "Nope, I ain't going nowhere." So she gets like 50 sleeping pills and then makes Valentina her favorite dish. And just sprinkles all these sleeping pills in her food. Valentina eats the food and Tamara just goes to bed and waits for the pills to kick in. That's when Tamara wakes up at 2 a.m. and finds Valentina's body laying on the floor. And we don't know if Valentina was dead or asleep. But that didn't matter to Tamara because she quickly started to chop Valentina up and then stuffed her in a bag and then dumped Valentina's remains in a pond. Okay, I don't think I hate washing dishes this much. So 3 days later, this couple is walking their dog. And this dog comes across a bag that he seems particularly interested in. So the couple open it up and that's when they see Valentina's torso. So obviously they call the cops. And Tamara, she was actually reported to the police for dumping bags in a pond. And the same day, a social worker knocked on Valentina's door to see how she was doing. And Tamara, she refused to let them into the apartment. So now the police are joining all the dots. So they show up to Valentina's apartment and Tamara lets them in. And she's being very nice. She's like, "Of course, come in, don't be shy." And the police, they find blood in their house and no one has seen Valentina. At this point, the police are like,
"Looks suspicious."
And Tamara, without skipping a beat, she's like, "Yes, it was me. I murdered Valentina." So they take her in. And trust me, it gets worse. Because the cops, they find Tamara's diary. And they soon find out that Tamara killed several people. Remember all those roommates Tamara had? Well, apparently, she killed some of them. And she'll eat their lungs, legs, and parts of their head. And then she'll dump the rest of the body. And this is all written in Tamara's diary. So Tamara, she's very cooperative. She tells the cops, "Yes, what I wrote to my diary is true." The cops even believe that Tamara killed her husband. And in total, she killed approximately up to 11 to 14 people. But because the bodies weren't found, they couldn't find any evidence against her. Apart from the body they just found. And until today, Tamara's locked up in a mental institution. Sounds like a great way to retire.